Hey guys, Josh here from Sportitude running. It is shoe review time and we're going to be talking all things Adidas Adizero Boston 10. This shoe here has had a massive update from Boston 9. Let's not hide that fact. There is a lot going on with this shoe, and in today's review we're going to dive into all the changes from Boston 9 to the Boston 10, give you all the information that you need at home to potentially throw this into your shoe rotation. And I'm also going to let you know how I've personally experienced this shoe, because this little guy here has been in my rotation now for the best part of 4 weeks. And I like it, but we'll find out where in today's review. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Okay guys, before we get diving into all the specs and bits and bobs about this shoe, let's talk about the foot type that could be considering the Boston 10. Now, first things first, before I dive into the foot type part of me, let's talk about why this shoe even exists in the first place. So if you've been an Adizero Boston wearer in the past, you've probably used that shoe for your workouts, your sessions, or even some races in the past. Now, I hold a Boston 9 in my hand through here, and you can actually see that even to the silhouette, there is a significant difference between the two shoes. Not only from the outsole, but the midsole, the material used in the midsole, the stack height, and the weight of the shoe. So there's a lot that has changed into Boston 10. So being a shoe that isn't really designed for what I'd classify as your mileage running, it is certainly a little bit more of your workout shoe, or something you could do some progressive runs in. Now, it is a little bit heavier than what it used to be. Now, I know that some people out there are not going to like that, especially a lot of Boston wearers, but there are going to be a lot of people that are going to enjoy what this shoe is all about. Being marginally heavier, you do get a slightly more stable ride underneath the foot, and that's in conjunction with what's going on in the midsole as well. So this shoe here is really targeting that threshold to your progressive long runs, but also your workouts as well. So it's a pretty versatile shoe. Now, being a neutral shoe, we technically sit there and go, well, that means we don't want to put someone who's a heavy pronator inside this shoe. But however, myself, I'm mildly pronate, and in this shoe, I've experienced a really good consistent ride. And that's more due to the stabilizing factor of those carbon rods, which we'll get into in the midsole part of this review. So let's start talking about Boston 10 and Boston 9 and where the things have changed. So looking at the outsole first, you can see straight away there is a lot that's different. So your Boston 9, what Adidas did with this shoe was they used a boost cushioning system in conjunction with that light strike foam, which sat on top of that boost from the heel and through to the forefoot. So it was a pretty light and snappy ride, but to get a little bit of rigidity and support through that forefoot, they used their sort of plastic truss-stick support system through the midsection through here. So it gave your midfoot a little bit of structure and integrity as you're transitioning through your gait cycle. They still use that continental rubber on the outsole, which has been a very good outsole for Adidas for the best part of, well, it could be 5+ years they've been using continental rubber, even longer. So the outsole really hasn't needed any upgrade at all. All it is more about the strategic change in the positioning of where they put that continental rubber. So you can see through the forefoot, it's considerably more filled out. So there's a lot more surface area with that continental rubber. That does add a little bit of weight, keep that in mind, but it also helps stabilize that forefoot. And as you come back through to the heel part of the shoe, we can see that they've strategically placed that harder wearing rubber for that heel striker who comes down underneath the heel first. I happen to be a midfoot runner. There's a little bit of exposed light strike foam through here, but I might see some significant wear towards the end of the life of this shoe, but I'm not fazed by that because it's going to wear pretty consistent and pretty true in my opinion. So now coming through to the midsole. Now this is where all the fun really happens inside this shoe. So I suppose we should probably talk about the biggest change in statistics. Adidas had a 26 to 16 mil heel to toe drop in the Boston 9 last year. So that's 10 mil offset, but on a relatively low platform. So they've jacked it up to a 39-31. So you've got 13 mil more stack underneath your foot inside Boston 10. So it is a higher shoe. You are a little bit higher off the ground, but the reason they have raised that stack height is they needed to put something in the midsole, and what they have done is they've used carbon rods. Now they've got 5 carbon rods which run from around the midfoot through to the forefoot, and their function is to provide some structure and integrity and almost stability for that forefoot. So if you think about how your metatarsals function when you're going through toe off. They do dip down and engage. So to give your metatarsals some support and the met head some support, by having those 5 carbon rods through that forefoot, it just allows a little bit more of almost like a rocket sole or a propulsive feel through that forefoot. So it is a unique ride and experience for the Boston wearers out there. It's not the stiffest shoe in the market, and certainly not the first shoe to throw in some technology through the forefoot to offer some extra stiffness. But however, brands gone by in the past have used either carbon plates or nylon plates, which is essentially the full width of the midsole, so from the medial to the lateral side, the whole way through that midsole. However, by using the carbon rods, you can actually almost get a little bit more of a adjustable functionality, for want of a better term, through your forefoot. So you can kind of manipulate where you want your forefoot to toe off, where sometimes when you're stuck in a shoe with a plate and you're on a line of transition, it is hard to change where your foot is going to then propel out of your gait cycle. So yes, it's a little bit more stiffer, but I do like what Adidas have done through here with regards to the rods versus a full plate. However, there is a little plate construction at the back of the shoe. Now, we got this data from Adidas. They sent us through a tech sheet and how the midsole has been put together. The plate that sits at the back of this shoe is more placed, not to give the heel any real support, it's more to give them the carbon-infused rods an anchor point to start off their engineering as it goes through to the forefoot. So there is a lot going on underneath the foot with the carbon rods and the little plate at the back, injected inside the Light Strike Pro midsole on top, and then the Light Strike foam underneath. The Light Strike foam being a little bit denser underneath the foot. However, the Light Strike Pro is it's like their super foam. It's Adidas's super foam. It's light, spongy, and very responsive through the gait cycle. Okay guys, let's talk all things upper in the Boston 10. Now, first things first, I want to call out a couple of things. It is only available in a standard width, which is a D men's and a B ladies. However, it does fit a little bit broader than what I would classify a traditional width for your Adidas series. So what I mean by that is through the forefoot, I had in my true to size 9.5, a little bit more volume through that front half, which initially I thought was going to be a concern, but as I said, I've used this shoe for 4 weeks now and I have not had any issues at all with the fit and feel of this Boston 10. It is a little bit deeper through the front half of the toe box too, which again, for me, I really liked with this shoe. In regards to the tech features or the biggest points of difference with Boston 10, they have a more advanced gusseted tongue. That's the only way I can say how this whole almost gusseted tongue slash booty construction works, fits and feels. So in conjunction at the forefoot, we have this little suede toe box through here, but underneath that, we have a really strong mesh top. But as I said, this tongue here, it is attached from this little green line on the midsole underneath the underlay through here, and it runs right the way through to the forefoot, wraps up around the top of your toe box, and the same thing on that lateral side. You can see it's called out by that green foam sitting underneath the 3 Adidas stripes there on the lateral side. Step in this shoe, yes, you feel a little bit broader, a little bit boxy through that forefoot, but on top of that arch, it felt incredibly secure. That saddle was a great fit. Coming back to the heel counter, I like what they've done with this. It is a stiffer shoe, so you've got to make sure that you counterbalance that with a good heel counter, and the Boston 10 has got a good heel counter. Not too padded, not too foamy through that internal heel collar. Again, I think it's just right. I like the amount of foam on offer. It's a very comfortable but a very functional fit at the same time. Okay guys, I've given you all the text and specs on the Boston 10. Now it's time to give you some of my subjective opinions on this shoe. Now, straight off the bat, when I saw this shoe 12 months ago, I must admit I was sitting on the fence. I was really confused about what Adidas was trying to achieve with this shoe. Now, the reason I say that is because at the same time I saw this in our workshop showings with Adidas, we'd only just received Boston 9. And the feedback on Boston 9 early days was great. The consumers liked it, the runners liked it. It's a Boston shoe, it's light, it's snappy, it's relatively close to the ground, you get a decent proprioceptive feel. So when we got our head around how this shoe works and functions and feels and the feedback from the running community out there, I was super happy. And then we got shown this. And I said, oh dear, what's going to happen with the Boston 10 and what's going to happen with our Boston runners? Now, if you're at home and you're sitting there thinking, I've been a Boston wearer before, I'm just going to add this to cart, send it to me, I'm going to run on it and I'm going to love it. Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. It's going to be completely different. Now, it might be a good different, but it also could be a bad different. So because this shoe has had an increased stack, they've changed the foam, they've injected carbon rods, it runs, fits, feels, and functions completely different than Boston 9 from last year. Now, if you happen to be a Boston 9 runner and you really enjoyed that shoe, I would say you'd be better off looking at the Adizero Adios 6. Now, we have done a review on that, and we'll drop the link in this video below. It's probably going to run a little bit similar to the Boston 9. But Boston 10, that's what we're here to review. And from my perspective, when I put it on my foot and I got about a K into my first run, I was overthinking this shoe too much. I was trying to pick up what I didn't like about it because I had that negative thought in my head about what the Boston runner is going to think about this shoe in the first place. Now, it's increased weight. We've gone from around 230 odd grams in the Boston 9 to 290. So 60 gram increase in this shoe is significant. However, it's stable and it's snappy. So what I think this shoe is going to be good for, I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic for that person that needs and requires a stiffer forefoot, is sort of searching for that propulsive feel, which is where those carbon infused rods come into place. So you can use it for some long, slowish runs, but some progressive runs, some workouts. This shoe here is going to be absolutely fantastic. I have loved this shoe over the last 4 weeks. Again, it took me about 3 or 4 runs to try and figure out where I'm going to slip this into my rotation, but I have used it from easy runs. I've run up to 12Ks in this shoe comfortably at a very easy 5 minutes per kilometer pace, but I've also done some progressive runs and I've done a couple of workouts and I've been really, really happy. One thing I will call out about this shoe for hill sprints, I really liked it. I mean, running uphill, getting that forefoot grab, having a little bit more rigidity underneath the foot on that asphalt surface, I thought this shoe felt fantastic underneath the foot. So from my experience, I mean, I didn't do much running in the Boston 9 at all, but from where I stand right now, what this shoe is all about, it actually works in my shoe rotation, which is fantastic. But if you've got any questions or comments, theories or queries, or you want to just let us know if you've used Boston 10 and what your experiences are, please let us know in the comment section below. We love to hear about everything about you, the runners out there, and all your shoe experiences. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit the red button, stay notified, and we'll keep pumping out these shoe reviews for you, the running community, all around the world. And until next time, stay safe, be kind to one another, happy running, and we'll see you out on the road. Take care.